Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to come to Lisbon. This is my second time in Portugal, and I really like it. So thank you, Microsoft, and thank you, everyone. I would like to start by asking how many of you have been in Mexico before? A lot of hands. Great. Where? Rivera Maya. Okay. Who else? Other part of Mexico? Only Rivera Maya? I love Rivera Maya as well. Let me give you a few facts about our country. We have 127 million people. We are a federation, meaning that we need to negotiate all the time with 32 different states that has their own autonomy to regulate. And our biggest challenge, we are the 15th economy in the world, the second largest in Latin America, but we have 43% of our population living in poverty. If you ask me what is the biggest challenge that we have as a government is inequality and how we can use technology to reduce it. So to give you an example, we have a neighborhood in Mexico City with the same human development index as that of Holland. But we also have small municipalities in the southern states of the country with a human development index of that of Guinea-Bissau. So inequality is a big challenge. But we also believe that with technology and a smart use of digital, we can leverage that. So in 2013, our president, Enrique Peña Nieto, back then, we recently have a change last year, launched a major telecommunications reform. We created an autonomous regulator to increase competition in the telecom sector. We recognize internet as a fundamental constitutional right, meaning that nobody who rules the country, internet should be guaranteed within that constitution and all government programs. We also mandated to have a universal inclusion policy as a state obligation. With that, we created an office within the president's office to be responsible to work openly in a very collaborative way with industry, academia, civil society, and citizens in general to define what are going to be our priorities in leveraging technology. So we came with 5 main objectives within the National Digital Strategy. To use technology to change how government works inside and to deliver better government services to our citizens, to use technology to really leverage knowledge economy, to change our educational policy, to increase and improve the provision of health services, and to really encourage civic innovation and citizen participation in public life and public policy co-creation. And for that, we define 5 enablers. Definitely to increase connectivity, to develop a strategy that allows us for people to develop digital skills, to promote interoperability or the only one principle, to work in a legal framework that must be updated very constantly to make sure that everything has legal certainty what they do in authoritative acts within citizens and government, and to have open data as a transversal enabler of the strategy. What were the results? Within 5 years, we doubled internet connectivity. And when you think about Mexico, we have a geographic challenge when bringing connectivity. So we work very hard to leverage that, and we almost double our coverage. We went from these are our government offices. You can go to a government office, leave your chanclas, sit down, and wait for someone to take care of your stuff. If you think of this about loss in productivity is huge because people have more important things to do than just wasting time. And it was very common to give money for someone that can help you to get your service faster. We changed this because we have a priority. And the priority was to put together a best-in-class digital presence. If we double connectivity, that means that the majority of the people in our country have a mobile device because they were cheap, have very acceptable telecom services, so there was no need for people paying bribes, and it was very easy to fight corruption. You cannot give money to a computer, you cannot give money to a laptop to get your service online. So we put a lot of effort. We have a presidential decree to consolidate more than 5,000 government websites into a single domain, which is GovMX. Through GovMX, you can access information on more than 299 government agencies. You can access more than 5,000 digital services, and you can participate actively in any decision that requires consultation, service, or even discussions with citizens online. So when we were regulating the use of marijuana in Mexico, it was a huge debate. And all consultations were run within GovMX Participa platform. This is a very acceptable service. We have 85% it is a satisfaction index. And I would like to show you how you can now get your birth certificate, which was the previous office that you saw today in GovMX.
El día de hoy estamos lanzando el programa Acta de Nacimiento en línea. Obtener el acta de nacimiento a través del Internet en cualquier parte del mundo y a través de tu propio celular, simplemente accediendo al Internet. Aquí empezamos, ya estamos en la página GovMX, dice Acta de Nacimiento, dice a través de datos personales o a través de la clave única del registro de población y CURP. Ahí te solicitan distinta información de carácter personal que vas ingresando, vas validando que la información sea la correcta y una vez que está validada esa información, vas después a la forma de pago. Varía dependiendo lo que cada entidad o cada estado del país cobre en derechos por el acta de nacimiento, desde 38 pesos hasta 170 pesos aproximadamente. Puedes imprimir el formato para ir a pagarlo al banco o directamente en línea a través de la tarjeta de crédito o de la tarjeta de débito. Y hecho eso, imprimes tu acta de nacimiento y lo puedes hacer a color o en blanco y negro. Yo aquí la tengo ya también, la recibí en mi teléfono. Aquí está el acta de nacimiento. Así de fácil y así de sencillo.
It's so easy, super easy. When you work in government and you ask the people running the agenda of a president, I need to make a video with the president to show how easy it is to get a digital service. There's a lot of things to think about. As a team, a lot of people say, no, Yolanda, don't do that, because if something goes wrong, I lose my job, of course, because the president will say, you're out. But more than that, we will lose credibility of the strategy. But we were so sure that GovMX was extremely well designed, based on user needs and preferences. We put a lot of effort, we did a lot of focus group, we did a lot of testing, because this birth certificate, any person, anytime, anywhere, and from any device should be able to get such a basic document. If you think about Mexico and the US, we have 25 million living in the US. 17 million do not have legal documents. So they need a birth certificate to get many other basic identity outside Mexico. Before this, they needed to come to the place of origin to get this basic document. So when we went to request the time for the video, we were just given 1 minute, that's it. So it either works or it didn't work. And we decided as a team to take the risk because we were so sure that the service was so well designed that even the president, without previous practice, were going to be able to make it. This is one of the most viewed videos in the Facebook of the president, and gave us a lot of leverage to work with other government agencies to really put forward a digital transformation agenda. We launched our digital service design in 2016, and it's basically extremely important in terms of making and increasing the digital take-up of digital services in Mexico. And think about Uber. Uber is in 300 cities. Once you learn how to use the app, you don't need to log in again with a different login and password. You don't need to change your credit card. I came here, I can order at Uber. I go tomorrow to DC, I use Uber. I go to Mexico City, anywhere. With government services, it was not the same. Different login and passwords, same information all over and over and over. And we changed the entire concept with huge success. GovMX is the 5th most visited domain in Mexico. That graph shows traffic over time. That peak was the earthquake. GovMX became the point of access of all emergency information in 2017 when we had a major earthquake in Mexico City. Mexico City is a 25 million people urban area. It was crazy because we had buildings down, we had people that was dead. So having a digital protocol for emergency response made a difference, and all information went through our one-stop shop. We work a lot with citizens. We really put in practice all the design principles that we leverage and that we work together with different government agencies. So this is a very common day-to-day work in our office, and we are in Los Pinos. And this is the satisfaction index of birth certificate of education licensing, which it was one of the most corrupt services. We also put together a cluster of digital services, for example, to opening up your business online. So if you are an entrepreneur and you want to open up your business in Riviera Maya, you can do so now. You can go to govmex/your company. You can open up your business, operate your business online for free. You don't need to go to a notary. You get your digital signature, and you can basically run a company from anywhere in the world in Mexico. What you do when you have a very strong digital presence? We devoted last year to really develop a framework, a policy framework for the convergent use of emerging tech with one purpose, to really increase and expand the capacity of government to deliver better government services. So I pick one example. GovMX/Mi Salud is a chatbot that people register to follow up on 5 thematic areas: pregnancy follow-up, diabetic chronic disease, addiction problems, and teenage pregnancy. And just basically is very effective because the chatbot works 24/7. You can access that chatbot from anywhere, anytime, any device. And we train and we work with the Ministry of Health to teach our medical assistants that are with unions, and unions in Mexico are very tough when negotiating 1 extra hour. So if you really want to increase the capacity of preventive campaigns, we can really work together with the Ministry of Health and use technologies like this, is a chatbot, to really prevent 24/7 these risk areas. Today, Mi Salud has 25,000 active users. We have 50% of response rate, and we follow the same example of using chatbots, for example, to promote digital financial inclusion, to remind beneficiaries of social programs the importance of having some savings. We work with the UK Prosperity Fund to have a diagnosis and a white paper released last year for a national digital strategy on artificial intelligence. We work with the community, technical community, civil society, universities, industries together to say, okay, how are we going to deal with this in a very positive way? So by the end of the year, we make a very big public consultation about the guidelines that the government was going to be using when procuring automated decision system. How we're going to account for making sure that we protect data, how we're going to account for responsibility about decisions being made with using algorithm is not the same a mistake on classifying document letters or official communications than making a mistake in the health sector. So it's a very important topic, and I think the most relevant lesson to share is that we leverage this together as a community with a team at the edge that open with the ecosystem. We also launched a public hackathon with more than 35,000 participants to use and to define use cases for blockchain. Not everything can be put in a blockchain, so the right approach is to have a framework to really guide the efforts of government agencies on how to approach the use of this technology more effectively. And what we did is we launched 4 initiatives, and all of them have a partner coming from industry, university, a think tank, a government agency that have a use case to work. One was already in production with the Ministry of Education and an NGO called UNETE to use Ethereum to track teacher certifications. So I think, again, the major message here is everything that we do in using emerging tech was done in a very ecosystem-driven manner. And finally, digital inclusion. Another major reform launched in 2013 was how we incorporate the STEM and technology into the education curriculum in Mexico. And again, it was a very important conversation because we have to work with the unions to say it's not about the device, it's not about having connectivity at school. That's important. But what is more relevant is how we're going to change the teaching curriculum, how we're going to develop the skills in the teachers, how we're going to change the curriculum of the people that are starting to become a teacher because the kids already know so many things. The most relevant leverage was how do we build together the new curriculum for jobs that doesn't even exist. So I think that was a very interesting exercise. We created Aprende at a special entity within the Ministry of Education responsible for defining these policies, updating these policies, and working with the community on this, and especially with the unions. Finally, everything that I share with you in a very few minutes is teamwork. And I think the government has a huge opportunity to demonstrate that we can be innovative, that we can have multidisciplinary teams working at the edge, and if we use in a very positive way political empowerment, that it was our case in Mexico, we can definitely deliver. Thank you.